All right. 3, 2, 1, let's jam. It's my call, everybody. Let's give it up.
Yay! What's going on, guys? What's going on? Nice to see you.
Laolagi.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. You ever have your blood work done?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, once a year at the Wilmington Health Center. They're usually very disappointed in me.
Do they ever like give you back like all the test results and shit?
Oh, yeah, she calls me, Dr. De La Torre. Shouts to Asia De La Torre.
Ooh.
She
might
calls
have
me.
to clip that.
No,
edit that.
I'm only
she'll
supposed
be
to hear
proud of me
Josh
for
through
being
the mics,
alive.
though, right? I'm not supposed to hear. Okay.
She does, and she calls me in a way that's what I've heard called a compliment sandwich.
Oh.
So it's like, well, you don't weigh 240 pounds anymore, but you really gotta be a completely different person. Yeah,
For
but
sure.
no, yeah, I do. But here, my thing is, I don't know how to interpret the data. I just live like an asshole, get my blood work done, and then my doctor calls me and tells me, "Don't be this way," and I'm like, "I won't," and then I continue to be said way.
Completely, or do you ever like?
I adjust, and this is actually the healthiest because I now walk 10,000 steps a day.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
By roads because my job is a mile from my home.
Oh no shit, where do you live at?
I live in Pedro here, but I work at a place about a mile from my house, so it's 2 miles 6 days a week.
Okay, nice.
But I also walk to the bar. I walk to unhealthy places and work, so I feel like it's like a push in Vegas.
Okay, nice. I just like bumped up my like personal step counter thing from like 6,000 to 10,000, and it's a lot of fucking steps a day, man.
Well, you're a healthy cat. You're a trim fella.
Trying to be, man, but it's like
He used to be a fucking balloon, man.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely.
I would drop kick. I would drop.
I have to show them
motion,
pictures, man, all the time, and they don't believe
One
it.
at a time. One at a time, guys. What's that, Omar?
No, it's not the same. I can only speak.
Now,
when I
Mike.
interrupt someone.
Yes,
Mike, I have a question for you.
All right. I guess I'll just.
Oh, sorry,
never
Omar.
mind.
Okay, so you're a Taylor Swift fan. How many
Sure.
penises do you think will fit inside her anal cavity while she undoubtedly burns in the lowest depths of hell for eternity?
Hell of a segue.
Your thoughts?
None, because she's an angelic angel that doesn't require any dicks.
Okay, that's not what I heard.
That's PC, man. That's as PC as you're
Apparently, her
you're trying
music needs to
motherfuckers
get
killed.
censored.
I heard, and I don't know if this is like confirmed or not, but I heard from Andrew Schultz. I was watching a clip of his where he was talking about the newest documentary that came out about her and Scooter Braun, about her like her music thing, and like he says that like, oh, it's the story that she put out isn't exactly the story, but I'm not going to get involved in Taylor Swift nonsense. That's a whole bag of worms, you know.
Okay.
I mean, how many 17-year-old girls can you fight off with one microphone?
A whole world, man.
I mean, it's tough. I like Taylor Swift enough to know when she's on the radio. Isn't that something?
Do you want a real answer? Or do you want a joke answer?
I want an Omar answer.
Omar, what do you think?
We demand an Omar answer.
Well, you know, nothing funnier than real life. Do you see Josh? It all depends. You said how many cacks, right?
Yeah.
Like the how many licks kind of thing, right?
Sure.
It depends how stretched she is, my boy. So the more stretched she is, then the more she can fit a fist, then probably can fit 2 cacks.
So that's at least 2.
So exactly. If she's been patient,
Depends
she's
on
been
the race,
training,
too.
if she's been wearing a butt plug every day of the month.
Do you think she'd be into Hitler?
Wow. We're connecting pussy in very weird dots here, but
I think Hitler would be.
I'm glad Omar's in the middle for this.
To fucking even, he would get like S&M by her.
Good opening topic.
Yeah, I just watched the movie Inside Out today, by the way. I saw Inside Out for the first time. This is the panel in your brain, and we're missing some emotions, but I'm glad Omar's running the show.
He would be the red guy, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But also, he didn't bat an eye. We went from 10K steps and how can fatty be less fatty to, you know what, Taylor Swift, you know her, how many cocks can we fit? And what I love about his answer was it was so diplomatic because I think if we all had like 30 minutes and a notebook, we could probably come up with a good answer and a funny answer.
I can just tell you the real shit. Like I can tell you her life asshole story from fucking 8-year-old.
Oh, you were there in Nashville?
From 8-year-old Olive fucking to now.
That girl's ass has never had a dick in it. I
I'm
guarantee
saying
you.
You start with the
She
pinky,
dated John Mayer, and she was like 14,
Oh,
and
he's
he was
wild.
112. So I
you
don't
go
know
up to
about that
go
one.
to each
You see the guy play a guitar in front of black people? Pretty sure she's had anal.
He does comedy
All right.
now.
I'm already getting it out of the way because hey, it's like taking a band-aid off. I'm gonna say stupid shit. That's mine.
Yeah,
Good thing your
everybody,
second
we're not.
premise was better than mine.
Just so everybody watching knows,
you have to say African American, or else it's like
the title "Let's Ruin Our
African-American
Lives"
shirt. All right, that's black. You can't just say black.
is ironic. We're not
agree.
trying to ruin Mike's life.
Mike is black.
Are
racist,
you?
African American?
Do you like any Taylor Swift songs? Legitimately,
No, I don't.
no,
From
You can't name any.
Never heard one that
No.
you're like, oh, that's a bop. Nothing.
no.
Have you ever been around a woman
Do
that was
you-
like, you got to hear this song, and then she had
No.
sex with you? Okay, maybe
Not-
that's the missing link here.
He has a different kind of woman.
I can't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
sex if I can't
Yeah.
hear the
When I
song.
first met the old bag 10 years ago, we took a trip to Asheville in her minivan that her mom bequeathed onto her. We were all white trash shit, smoking fat weed from Durham to Asheville, and that song, "Ever get a bag left blank space or some shit." Yeah, I'm making noises, but you know what I'm talking about. My point being, when I watch her really just fucking fist bump, I'm like, oh, this is really embarrassing, but I'm in a car with someone who's going to take me to a place I've never been and show me a fun time. And we had been dating like maybe a few months at that time. Now,
Stop.
when I hear the song, I'm like, yo, blank space, remember when da-da-da? She's like, no, I hate that song.
That
So
shit looks like
it's
fucking,
all subjective, dude.
Doesn't she
Jim
do that
Carrey
song?
falling out of the rhino's ass?
Doesn't she do that song "Living in
He's
America"?
like the Argentinian translation of like a
No, that's
wrestling
not her,
match.
right? I actually don't know. I'm
Cinco,
not like
cinco,
super
cinco,
familiar with
cinco,
like her
cinco,
current
cinco.
stuff. But like way back when we were living in Arizona, remember I took that trip to Albuquerque? We like
Yeah.
stopped at a Target to get some music for this road trip to Albuquerque, Phoenix, and like
CDs.
the CDs. And the only two CDs that the girls picked up was Garth Brooks' Greatest Hits and
that's good. I
Taylor
love
Swift's
this guy.
first album. And those are the only two albums we listened to for like 50 hours. So yeah, I became a Taylor Swift fan.
Dude,
Same way I became a country music fan from living in Phoenix, from just constantly being involved in it. You know, it's always
Yeah,
like,
little Ricky Van Shelton,
Are you-
some Alan
You're not
Jackson.
gonna edit that out.
No, I
What?
love Garth Brooks.
The Taylor Swift.
You probably can't
No.
quiz me on
Might be
a Garth
might be
Brooks
price
song
on your
I
head
don't
after
know.
This one, man, Jesus.
I only know
Friends
Friends in Low Places.
That's my karaoke closer.
Mhm.
Nice. I
Bring the
performed
house
it
down.
live at an art festival.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I recited some poetry and I was like super wasted, and I brought on my redneck friend.
Yeah.
Edit that.
What made him a redneck
and we
specifically?
covered.
Did he have like a country accent? Oh, that's real.
He's like if redneck became a person.
No,
Like
like
in a good way.
yeah.
That's where they
Four-wheel
premise.
drive
If
truck.
you have a TV that don't
Yeah.
work sitting on a TV that does work, you might.
Yeah,
He enjoyed
that guy
the
made
freedom.
good
Yeah,
millions
he
off
did.
of that
So
premise.
he doesn't have an ethnicity.
He does. He's a
Trump
redneck.
supporter.
Well, he
Yeah.
can only be a redneck
Oh,
if he
that's
can
so
only say
cliche,
what
though.
state he's from. If he says he's like Irish or anything like that, he's not a redneck. You got to be like just wherever you're from. Where
I
you're from.
think he's Scottish.
You can't have any bloodline from another country. It's just,
Well, that's
Not in
literally
Omar's
not
America, at
possible.
least.
I'm from America.
Wait, Josh, I have a question for you on the Taylor Swift thing.
Yeah.
Do you equate or have a disdain for a Taylor Swift version of that you've seen in the past? Example, I've heard people be like, "Oh, she's just fucking Madonna for blah, blah." Do you have someone that you're like, "Oh, she's just the new blah blah blah," but you actually respect the original version, or are you not into white
No,
women music at all?
I like pop music from back in the day.
I said
feel
white
like
women music.
Same thing, really. I
Is
mean,
it?
I don't know.
What do you mean, like countrywide?
To answer your question, I view Taylor Swift as like a Nazi poster girl for the Fourth Reich. Like
Whoa.
she's just.
What do you mean,
We
man?
can cut
Wait,
all
she's
of this.
bigger
Mike,
than
if it makes you
football?
too
No,
uncomfortable.
we're not. It's just,
Genuinely
why do you think I'm
interested
here?
in the hate for them.
I'm here for the hot takes and the hot takes.
Like as a fellow musician, you don't respect the
Just
hustle.
I feel that her music is mediocre and banal, that it appeals to little girls, and that it's like
yeah, it's mainstream.
it feels disingenuous, and it's just always about like I don't know what the guys she's been with or
She's not
whatever.
Missy
It's
Elliott.
the heartstring pulling of like modern country. Like picked up a pickup truck. She dumped me
Right, like-
yesterday. My brother died at the war, but my mom
Right, like-
ain't gay. Like I got it.
But like Josh said,
Well, like
what
all
if
music
she
used to
was,
be
like,
so much better.
If she was like
Well, yeah, but
Hitler's
that's
wi-
old
shit,
man shakes fist at cloud though.
what if
Omar,
she was
what?
Hitler's wife. You're talking about the fear shit. You know, imagine the Nazi fashion she would have if she's all on posters. And shit.
Oh, then she would look cool.
Wait, are you the old guy's son and falling down with Michael Douglas?
It's for fucking stomping faggots and queers.
Hey, Hugo
I'm an
Boss
American.
made those fucking-
You're a sick asshole. That's fucking genius, dude. Holy
My
shit.
dick would
You're
be
the
zigging
son of the
like-
guy from falling down.
Dude,
you're
the
son
Nazis
of Vita and some
The
other
Nazis?
Argentinian person.
are the only sharp-looking villains from history, at least modern history. You know, everybody else wears like camo.
Sharp looking, as in they can cut you with their features?
No, like they look
Yeah.
goth. Like goths.
Goth? I don't think
Yeah,
goth
like-
are sharp. They're kind of
No,
dull and pale.
Like the trad goth, like the old school from like the late 70s. Like they would wear like
Yeah.
fucking Nazi hats and the big trench coats. Like they
Would it
basically
surprise you if
appropriated the
Taylor
style.
Swift in a year got called out because they found her on a video saying the N-word to a rap song? No, seriously, because it would not surprise me fucking at all.
That sounds-
It
Bieber
wouldn't
did it.
surprise
Bieber
me
was
either,
buying
yeah.
crack in the hood in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
if
Bieber was-
Taylor Swift
Bieber
was
was
saying the
picked up
N-word in
on
a rap song with like a black guy in the car
It'd be foreplay.
taking a video of her, like, would you be surprised at that at all? No, right?
No, I don't think it would be. No.
Would you think
Mike,
that
your
would
thoughts?
like end her career? Probably not either, right?
Mike, what do you think?
about T Swift.
Has she said the N-word?
Like she works at
Probably in the past, but
Great
never,
answer.
it'll never see the light of day. Her PR team is the
Yeah,
best on the
that's
planet.
true.
There's
Double
absolutely
great answer because that's accurate, I think.
You know what
Um,
I do respect about Taylor Swift is that she re-recorded like all her albums or
Yeah, that's what
whatever.
we're talking
She-
about.
all of her music, yeah, up to a certain point.
I respect that a lot as like a person who
As
respects
a
artistic
capitalist
integrity.
Nazi.
Right.
No,
No, I'm just kidding.
And I mean, to be
I'm
fair,
just busting
too,
some old
like,
beans in it.
I'm not like super into like her newer stuff as much as I like her older stuff. But I mean, like from
Okay.
all accounts, her tour, like her Eras tour or whatever, like every single fucking guy that goes into that thing is just like, no, but it's like tight as fuck. Though. Like
Because they're
awesome.
getting pussy.
maybe some
Well,
of her
gay guys
sugar
like it
daughters,
too.
You know, you know
See,
what I mean?
so it's a win-win. It's like two Vietnamese guys playing heads up poker. It's a
Why is
win-win.
it that when Josh put her into like racist shit, she started becoming attractive. You know, it's like I said, I'm gonna repeat my joke again. I'm gonna Jim Norton my joke. She's gonna zig how your fucking cock. She's gonna fucking get every black dude to get that white chick that they all want, right? And then you put it in everything else that you're fucking saying. It's like any racist thing, she just becomes sexy. It's like,
I
ugh.
agree.
If she was like a
I'm
Klan
glad
member.
that you gave Jim Norton credit for that joke. Secondly, you didn't blink enough to pull it off. Like
No, not giving Jim. I
Yeah.
said Jim Norton because
Blank.
I repeated my joke.
You're a
That's what I
legend,
mean.
Norton. I love
But
you.
I'm saying if she was in the clucks and she like ghost pose, you know, ghost pose in her. Fucking...
So that was question one out of the gate for our guest.
Thank you, Ivy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Josh,
I had-
you really
next
come
question.
through with the
Wait,
you
before-
come through with the gun smoke.
Next
Before that,
question
though,
for Mike.
Can I
Yeah,
ask you
go
a
ahead.
question? How did you
Yes.
guys get into this or get the idea rolling in the first place to like actually do this together? And stuff?
Omar was just like ranting at me on the phone for hours and hours and hours. I was like, this
Not
could be a
you.
podcast.
Ah, okay. That
And
makes sense.
then he introduced me to Ivan over the phone, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy's an actual stand-up comedian. He probably wants to do a podcast too. And then we did our first one, and then before we did the second one with Eric, shout out Eric List, I met
Is that you?
Morgan, and Morgan said he was down to produce. So it just
Motherfucker.
all
Shout out
came.
producer Morgan in the house.
Yeah,
It
Morgan.
came. Yeah, shout out Morgan.
He's literally
We
everyone's
could do like the guy
music
from
friend.
Guts. Take it away, Mo.
Morgan is the fucking structure of this
We've
thing.
all known him for
Dude,
days,
I
and
agree.
we've known him for years.
It would just be
Yeah.
Omar in his moo pants milking us.
Oh yeah, when I
More
was
things.
when I was pulling up,
With
Frank
no
saw me outside,
No man.
and he came up to talk to me. And as soon as Omar walked up, the first thing he says to him was just like "Moo pants." Like,
But
Danny
Danny,
Trejo just got knocked out at a fucking 4th of July party in the valley.
think
Dude,
you
that
see
was
video?
hard to watch.
What?
No, he got punched at a fucking in a valley 4th of July
Whatever,
show.
it was
Wow.
funny because
Some
he was
Josh
trying to.
took on machete and gave him.
it's okay, Omar.
What are you saying?
No, I was saying it was funny because he wasn't even trying to talk shit. He was like, "Oh, look at you with your moo pants on." I was like,
Well, no, they're a color of.
he actually thought it was cool.
It was worse because he said it naturally. That's why it was. That's why it was funny. He wasn't even trying to talk shit, and he just nailed it.
That's hilarious.
They're cool pants. What
Okay.
See, apparently punk rockers aren't 2X, so when you're 3X enough, you got to just fucking.
Not
find
crowbar.
something
They were
online.
4X.
You have to
Online.
kill cows. You have to skin actual cows and make your
Cattle
own clothes.
decapitation.
It's made
That's
out
how
of-
they started. There's the fat vegans.
It's made out of 8-year-old Sri Lankan children. Yeah.
I mean, if you ever seen how they make textiles, man, that's a whole fucking process and a half. Dude. I mean, no
Wait,
thank you.
really?
All right, Sir Hensworth. If you don't have anything specific, dude,
He's got a whole list of questions.
Okay,
but I got a lot of shit with Mike I want to say. I've been saving things I want to talk about with Mike because we just have endless fucking stories.
Wait, this was you saving things?
No, there's a lot of things I want to say with Mike that I just been holding back.
Okay, let me. This will help. So you were born on 9/11. Do you think the Samoans had anything to do with that?
No, they're pretty content in their own lands for sure. And
you might
to be honest, like 9/11 was a totally cool birthday up until a couple of years ago, and then it kind of sucked, But besides that, I mean, it was awesome.
Has it changed in the past like 22 years or whatever? 23.
It was a little wild for the first 10 years, but I think we've all kind of just like mellowed out to it since then.
Yeah.
You don't really hear it except from the real crazies. So
for sure.
Like, there was a time period where that was like really going for a while, like the 2010s. But now, no one really, no one cares as much anymore.
For sure.
What's crazy is that like I have a family member whose birthday is on December 7th.
December 6th.
No, nice.
Yep. Oh, nice.
Family of tragedy,
Oh, they call me family tragedy.
Family of tragedy. That might be a good episode name.
Michael, I also have a question.
All right, go ahead.
Do you remember the time of my brother's friend told us that he had a bunch of fucking porno tapes that he needed to get rid of? And I'm like, dude, I need help. I'm not gonna go to a house by myself.
That sounds hot.
So me and Mike fucking tra-la-la over like fucking
raging boners. Trying to hide their sweatpant boners.
And I'm not even exaggerating, dude. That's why it's hilarious. He gave us a fucking giant trash bag, like Santa bag, full of just porno tape. Like
tapes, like VHS.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have fucking.
That's right.
Like this is gonna.
sticky one.
Like, I'm gonna get dated right now. But remember label makers?
Yeah.
I never jerked
Some
off
of the tapes had the fucking label makers on them, not even the paper, like the thick plastic, like that shit.
So he recorded.
This guy was the porno plug for all of his bowling buttons. All the pen pals
one at a
beating
time
off to Debbie Does Dallas.
But they were all sequel tapes. There was no part one of nothing. Then fucking when we got to Mike's, like, how do you want to do this? Like, I don't care, dude. This is like fucking 10 pounds of porno tapes. Just take 5 pounds of it. Divide it off a weight. I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and figure out what tape is what off a title. We haven't even fucking watched them. We're gonna watch them together and figure out which one. Fuck that.
Do you remember how pornos used to be though? It wasn't like you could like just like tape specific ones. You had to like buy Showtime for like 5 hours.
No, Mike. I didn't have internet. I'm Hispanic.
Internet was cable, man.
What's that?
Find a redneck mechanic and like hang out with his daughter and sell her weed. And she's like, "Oh, you can't go in there. That's Dad's closet." It's like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking pervert."
Just try to picture us walking down the street, like blocks and blocks, with the DVD up with 2 trash bags full of porn.
Well, what I think is funny is you're like, it's 5 pounds, but 2 of that is just your pre-cum because you're so excited to get home. It's a bunch of fat nuts, like the 40-year-old virgin just waiting to explode.
And the worst part is, like, when you watch the same part of a movie over and over, that part of the film is like fucked up. So when you would watch the film, you would see where it was fucked up because that means this person jacked off on this part.
Of course.
All the time.
Right. Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez was cutting that shit together.
Would you keep those tapes?
Dude, you know what's funny? I'm trying to remember what the fuck did I do with them?
Right now.
What the hell did I do with them?
Download it to his fucking Android phone, dude.
He literally like opens them up and stares at the strips.
Called Omar's Memories.
Dude, I would have loved to make.
Do you guys ever Google old porn tapes on like Pornhub now? Oh, bye, guy. Me
Dude,
too.
that should have like best of the 70s
like the
part
90s.
5.
Hey,
So produced now.
Jenna Jameson pre-tit job. You gotta
Mike,
goof it up.
remember the last party at your house on 11th Street, and we plastered the walls with porn?
Yeah, that's why I was asking him about it earlier, because when he brought this up, it was like, do you mean the time like 'cause they used to have a bunch of like
Punk rock fella?
yeah sure.
I just met him at Sacred Grounds like a month ago.
You met him.
Josh,
I'm sorry, I said his name. I have to edit his name.
I
Josh,
said booby.
Josh, can you kind of summarize a little bit before we get into stories with Mike about like the party apartment, but kind of preface it a little bit?
Yeah, preface it, Josh.
You go ahead, Mike. It was your place. You had no electricity for like 11 months.
Yeah,
Mike, tell us the start of that shit, dude.
I moved out when I was like right when I turned 18, and I got a studio apartment, and
With your inheritance.
yes, and burned it all pretty quickly. Bought a year of apartments. And,
Sorry.
just traveled and partied literally for like a year straight, if
My
not
man.
if not longer. And
It was like 2 years.
That's what
Yeah,
I would do
yeah.
right now. If I
And the funny thing about it was that like it wasn't just like a shithole. Like I was really into Moroccan architecture at the time, so like I painted.
I was digging it,
painted the
dude.
inside, detailed everything. I had hanging curtains, like elaborate curtains on the ceiling and walls.
By the way, it was
I'm uncultured. I just realized what a Philistine I am. God damn
It was the most stylish, broke as fuck thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen somebody do.
care
He
how
had like
rich I
5
get, I will
pillows.
not even cross my mind to be
Moroccan style. It was like elegant.
It was like a heroin den, but like a nice one.
Remember the hookahs?
It's like a
It was
It was Jim Morrison. It was the Doors. I was like,
Yeah.
really into the Doors at the time, and like I really dug his whole aesthetic about it. So
Yeah.
just completely adopted.
That's what I remember, dude. My high
First time
school
we did
favorite
acid.
bands in high school were the Doors and fucking Zappa. Now I remember why I really vibed with that.
Bangs. Okay.
Yeah. It was more just
Cheers.
about like kind of like the vibe of everything, you know.
Yeah.
And like at the time too, the girls that we were hanging out with, that was like I don't know, easy way to like be cool around them, you know. So just went full into it.
I only know
By the
because
way-
Wall was famous, which to get pussy movies, so that's why I asked.
By the way, at the time, Mike, while likable and lovable, his personality insufferable. He
What?
really,
Probably.
he
Yeah,
really,
probably, yeah.
yeah, he really played into like the Jim Morrison archetype, jumping on cars, fucking hiding the liquor from us.
May I ask a question?
Whatever,
On a
man.
scale of insufferable, and I'm putting
I get you,
Omar and
Mike.
I as an example,
Uh-huh.
as bad as us?
Not as bad as Omar. No.
Thank you. That's what I said. Us,
Thank you for being honest, Josh.
buddy. Hey, we're in this together. Us big
But here's
guys
the
having
thing.
something.
The reason I know so many fucking people is because I've always had my individual relationship with this.
That's
So
why I was
despite-
wondering.
Even though that's all true,
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with Mike. Like when it comes to me and him personally, like I've been there to witness all of those things. Like they're not lying, but you're still here. We still love you. You're still our brother. You know what I mean? But as far as me to you, like I never really got burned or anything of that. But they're not lying. I've been there to see
No,
that
they're
shit.
not
I
lying.
would love to know what insufferable
Lying.
means.
But also, me and Josh butted heads exclusively. Like we were both too smart for our own good and failing too much, and we just hated everything around each other.
Were you competitive with each other and
Yes,
buddies?
absolutely,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Best
a fucking
friends and
toxic.
super competitive about everything.
Yeah.
It's
To a
spiritual
fault.
kind of like he was the first gamer like I said back in the day when we grew up, like if you played video games, that's like being gay, so you had to be like a closet gamer.
It's not being gay. It's
No,
being
I
like
don't-
a
I don't play
nerd
video
dork.
games. No, I don't. So it was like, oh, finally found a fucking gamer, and he had this big ass poster. And one time, me and him were just chilling, smoking bud, and he flipped it over, and he had a whole like thing drawn on it. I was like,
Oh
what?
yeah, yeah.
That was like
Oh,
the
yeah.
closest thing to
Well,
like
you
someone
used to
coming
do
out,
that.
but like as a
I'll do that kind of
nerd.
shit, but I do digitally now.
What was the map? It was.
I used to like
It was
make.
dope.
I used to make up like lore, like lore in my head.
Oh, you were
Like,
drawing a map like your own more like
yeah, like
like
make
your
up
Lord
my
of the
own
Rings
world
map.
with like its own kingdoms, and each one would have like their own story and their own rivalries with each other, that kind of shit.
Because your brain needed something
Right,
to
right,
go
exactly.
to, and what was around you was not
There-
sufficing.
well, there was the internet was really young, so
I don't know,
the-
but it's like when I remember I was born in '82. I remember a friend across the street, her older brother was making his own shitty computer games,
Mm.
and he'd be like, "Hey, I worked on a game. If you guys want to play it, it sucks." And I'm like, "This is the coolest shit ever. You make fucking computer games," but his brain just needed some shit to
Yeah.
create.
it's like
Mike-
the same thing. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, Mike was like a nerd Da Vinci. Like he literally had like his own like. Remember your notebook that you would fill with all these like ideas and like diagrams
Oh,
and
I
stuff.
finished that journal, man. I showed it to my girl.
You have
the
it
other
still?
day. Yeah, to
Are
this
you a
day.
journal keeper?
It's like a good maybe
Wow.
like 10 years of like journals, but then in between journal entries, I would like get interested in like how engines work, and then I would draw out diagrams of like combustion and how that works,
Oh yeah.
or like get into like Sun Tzu's Art of War, and then like list out and like shit like that, basically.
Right,
you know?
right.
So like this is pre-internet, before you could like get everything. I would actually go to the library when I was living in Long Beach. I would go to the library and
The
get
one
a
by the skate park right there?
yeah, and I
Oh,
would
buddy, I
get
know
a
that one
book
very
on
well.
a subject and then just like copy off of it like information and shit and keep it in this journal. And
So
stuff.
you just have a very autodidactic kind of.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can identify with that. I won't even go into how much because I don't want to monopolize.
it still
but,
continues to this day too, because like I'll play Minecraft at my house or like my girl are chilling and stuff, and like it's one thing to just kind of like build stuff, but like I'll come up with a story behind like where this is at, and then like I'll be like, okay, babe, I'm gonna go off and go on an adventure, and I'll go off 4,000 blocks in one direction, and then set up a new kingdom, and then come up with their story, and then make how they interact with each other. And there's nobody else online. It's just me, but like I'm making up the story. You know.
Now, do you ever write like fan fiction or do storytelling shows?
The closest I ever got was when I was in continuational school. My English teacher let me write a book instead of doing work, and so every chapter I turned in was credit. And so then wrote an entire book about what would happen if vampires were not only real, but they were the dominant species on the planet, and we were all just like subservient to them, but we didn't know. I guess like it's the same way people would like equate to like the deep state now, but it was actual vampires. They lived on the moon, like they controlled everything.
But when you say vampires, was that a euphemism for Jews?
I didn't know about them back then. No,
He didn't know about Jews back then.
I only had one in my life.
He had Eric.
Shout out to Liz.
Yeah. We can say his name now that he's been on the pod, unless we say something embarrassing about him.
No, he's our host. Because we're all diverse, we're able to be racist against the ethnicities that we are. So
yeah, I bring in a whole.
Remember, we were talking about like white people in Pedro, like at least in our friend group. Like I'm part Korean, Mike's Samoan, Eric is Jewish. I'm saying all these names. We know an Italian, half German, half Mexican. Like none of us are full white. Which I always thought that was odd.
The first time I learned that, like in high school, you know how we always had friends that we just knew in class, and then like that was it. There was this one Croatian kid, and I didn't know what even Croatian was. Right, he looked blonde hair, blue eyes, and we would walk home.
What are your kind of people?
This was like middle school. We would walk home sometimes, and I guess he had been getting bullied by like this group of black kids, and I didn't know. And it was like one of the first times I started walking home with them, and then they were just like yelling all this shit at him. And then I felt that like he felt comfortable to like finally yell back at him because I was like walking with him, and he turned around and he started yelling at him in Croatian. I never knew what Croatian was or even a language. He's like, "Gosh, and then it was like three black kids and they all were like, "What the fuck?" They all started going like, "Oh shit, like, what the fuck?"
Look at that kick is crazy.
And they never fucked with them again. It's like I can only conclude. I hope
they're gonna change basketball in 20 years.
Damn, like. We were doing whatever reason they were doing that, like fuck you, white.
Sorry, the idea of three black kids in Pedro, which I've never seen three black children in San Pedro in my entire life.
Yo, maybe he could ball
yelling at a Croatian kid like, "Hey, man, that's wild." Hey man, you better start shooting.
They didn't know it was Croatian, is what I'm trying to tell you. So they never fucked with them again because they realized like, oh shit, I'm like white boy, and then it's kind of like maybe somebody was doing that to them, and they realized like, oh fuck. Like, damn, I accidentally did the same thing someone did to me. Right. This ain't some fucking white boy. He's Croatian.
It's like Easter promises.
So they just never fucked with them again. Like, I mean, if they never fucked with them again, I don't know. I don't know what else.
But that day you had his back.
It was a victory.
It wasn't even that I had his back. It's just he just felt comfortable to shout back finally.
Right, because you were physically so much bigger than him. He's like, he's behind me.
I didn't know that had
he's large and in charge.
I just kind of deduced all of this from like.
Did you ever talk to him again?
Half a Croatian, big Omar.
Just random. No, like just like in those years, it was just kind of people we just thought through class. It's not like we were not friends. It was just, but it was a kind of like a moment when people talk about racism and shit like that. It's like, dude, that's a moment of racism where it was like they realized what they did and they learned and they never fucked with them. They're like, oh shit, what am I doing? This guy's like. What is white?
White is
That's why I was joking earlier. To me, white is like if you can't trace your family back from somewhere, then that's white.
Yeah,
but
white
or the difference
that kid, by the way, grew up to be Ernie Slavko of Slavkos. So
or the difference between white and hot.
Sounds for your potato nuggets.
White,
I can explain I'll explain what white is. White.
If he says, or I'm sorry, let me stop with this. If someone says get out of your vehicle, you're fine. But if they say get out of your vehicle, then you got a problem.
So white really refers to only like the 5 countries who like colonized the entire planet, like England, the Dutch, the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the Italians.
But you've moved away from white countries.
Spaghetti.
And every white person in Pedro is one of those.
Irish people weren't considered white. Scottish people weren't considered white.
They were considered the Mexicans of Ellis Island.
Eastern Europeans weren't considered white. Gypsies, you know what I mean? Like
gypsies. I didn't know that was a country.
well, you know what I mean. Like a lot of they're I guess the term gypsy is like racist now, but
ignorant question. Egypt and gypsy. Any connection, or am I a moron?
I know Peruvian.
So
be honest.
like the white countries, like the Vikings, for instance. Obviously, they would be called white people, but they
Like
didn't
Eric
call
the
themselves,
Red.
they didn't call themselves that. They were just the Vikings, and so they enslaved their own people. They enslaved people from all over Europe. You know what I mean? Like it's really just those 5 Christian countries who were the ones who kind of invented racism, sort of. Like I think in the past it was more about like culture and like being against people because their religion was so different. It wasn't really based on color of skin.
What's Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel, where he just kind of deduces it to those 3 things.
I think it was definitely like regional and like religious too, for sure. Because I mean, like when the Christians, like all of Europe was Christian, right, and all these different kingdoms, the Pope ruled from the Vatican and stuff. Like they all warred against each other. It wasn't until they found a new place with new people that they were like, "Oh, better." Like
because talking to power dynamic is
right. I mean, like
a slam dunk.
Yeah, when you talk about like how the popes back in the day basically told like the Catholics, like or the Spaniards, that hey, you in Portugal can split the world. Like everything you find is yours, and then that's how they acted.
I would say like kind of like Patrice O'Neal and talk about with this like what's it called?
I'm gonna put my finger up every time you mention Patrice O'Neal.
Number one.
Trust me, this will pay off.
Stereotypes are funny because they're true, but once you add hate to it, then it's racism. You get what I mean? Stereotypes, we're laughing because we're able to be humble about our character traits and our culture and things that's common. That's why we laugh. But when you add hate, then it's like racist shit. And like Patrice O'Neal would always talk about how like he loves eating Chinese food and like he's like, man, we want to love you, but you got bulletproof glass windows and shit. And it's like, you treat us like it's the first time every time.
Asian business owners are notoriously racist towards white people.
But he's like, but what I love that he says, he's like, how many times do you have to interact with a group of people before you can decide not to like them? And it's so funny when he says it because it's like, it is what it is. That's not racist shit.
So that does transcend race, though, I think.
But like, but what if he's saying is true and there's no hate behind it? Then it's just what's going on, because I've experienced a lot of that too. I mean, Pedro is so diverse. Sure. We've had a rainbow of all ethnicities.
What if there was a clever spin on it, like the Louis C.K. jokes? Like, what if racist tropes had like positivity? Like, oh, you know about those Puerto Ricans? They're made of candy, which is like hilarious. It's a great bit, but like Louis is right. It's like, well, all the fucking throwing bad things. Like, oh, you know about Chinese people? They can fly. Like,
so I just like funny. I feel like in the United States, white was really used as a way to enslave white people. Like, what's that quote? You tell the lowest white man that he's better than the best black man, and you can just pick everything out of his pockets.
Is that Rush Limbaugh? I don't know that quote.
It was one of the presidents. It was like FDR or something like that. Like,
what do you think the plight of the white man is?
I think FDR might have been I know it's not, but I believe it stands for Franklin Delano Racist.
Say what you will.
I almost stepped on my own noggin. It was,
say what you will, no, but I was talking about this today with a coworker. FDR implemented the most socialist policies ever seen in this country, and he's the reason why our grandparents and great grandparents were able to have this, oh, it used to be so good back then. It was because of socialist policies.
The wheelchair guy, right? The polar guy. Okay.
We kind of trailed off a little bit, but did you fully explain the origin of the whole party department?
Did you fully explain? All right,
well, because he's our host, and there's just like endless stories.
He's our guest.
I want to make sure that
you're the host.
We can talk for hours whether we're filming or not.
What do you want to?
Did you? I know you started out explaining like the origin of like the apartment and stuff. I know you said it was your grandfather and shit. But what started? Because like when I met you,
and future will be the dynamic between you and Omar Josh. Seriously, because he'll bring up stuff about the past, which brings our guest in. But then when you have a new question, it brings the future. I think it's a good. Start it out there.
When I first met Mike, like you're one of the key people in my life. There's literally like 3 people on how I know everybody, and how I met you was fucking knows everybody. And when I started hanging out at your place, that's how I started seeing Josh all the time. You and Josh were like one of those people that everybody seemed to know. Kind of like another, oh, fuck, god damn it.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there will be.
I know. So,
the excess of excellence.
A whole podcast full of beeps people's names, man.
Or not the wrestler.
Like everybody knows that.
No.
Fucking knows Mike.
I'm just a moron. I thought I was talking about the rest of them.
I mean, to your point, like it was intentional for sure. Like
when I started, I'm sorry, because it's gonna be different if he asks you. When I met you, was shit was already going on. You already knew these guys. You know, I was the new one around. So when I came in,
Josh,
how long had you already been kind of doing that? You know, I barely had messed in there, and you know, everybody would know. God damn it! I keep fucking. I'm sorry, it's because I'm talking to Mike, so I keep accidentally
forgetting that you're here.
And yeah, surprise! I brought a magnifying glass for whenever we have to try to find Omar's point. Oh God, I'm gumshoe. I'm like fucking Alfred Wood, fucking Carmen San Diego. Oh God, I'm gumshoe. And it's my homie has a punk YouTube channel called Harbor Area Punks 13. Shouts to my homie Joe. So I put his punk sticker on the my girl was a whore for one or all of Halloween's, but one she was a whorish. What's the Scooby Doo? What's the bit? Yeah, well,
Daphne.
Hey, you know what? You can't make a housewife, but here I am trying. But she was a real whorish. Not Valerie. What's the one? I can't find my glasses.
Daphne.
Daphne. No, Daphne. The other
every
Velma.
time she was looking for her
Velma.
glasses.
So
Velma.
my girl was a whorish Velma for like 3 Halloweens when she was too like busy to be creative. But this is her magnifying glass for the whorish Velma. But I'm gonna bequeath it onto the podcast every time we're trying to find.
All right.
Omar or my point.
Our first
Shouts
visual
to
gag.
Harbor Punks 13.
Yeah.
Our
YouTube
first
channel.
visual gag, everybody.
That's
Where
right.
in the
Gag.
world?
Well, I thought Omar's moo pants were the first visual gag.
Where in the world is Omar's fucking point?
Dude, what was the name of the acapella group?
One
The
at a time.
rockapella?
One at a time.
Rhubarb.
So he was asking about like kind of all of us meeting together and getting together, and
I'm asking about my timeline. When I walked in,
floor,
how long had you already known?
Give him the floor,
friends were,
Daddy-o.
and then everyone else?
We met when I was in 12th grade.
did we?
Yeah,
12th grade?
through our
You-
friend who went crazy.
I'm younger than you, right?
You're a year younger, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, and,
Bleep that.
He went crazy, so it doesn't matter.
Just call him the crazy.
disappeared a while ago. To your point though, like I was friends with like cool people in high school up until like 10th grade, and it was shallow, vacuumless friendships that didn't mean anything.
Right.
And it wasn't until I met Crazy that like he introduced me to all of our friends from here, and
So
I made it a point to like I want to make as many genuine friends as possible. So like,
Hold up, really?
if I wait,
Crazy
wait,
Josh?
Hey, wait.
He's-
Let me say something real quick. No, it's our friend who went crazy. Let me
Oh,
make-
I
sorry,
never
sorry,
knew
sorry,
that.
sorry.
Like I didn't
let
know.
me
that's-
let me say something. One of the things that I
We'll call
wrote
him Crayon
down
from now on.
is the fact that Mike is punk, but not punk. Like Mike doesn't like punk music, but
Like,
he
what's
was
more
in
punk than that?
but he came into the
I
scene.
like some punk music, but not all.
But you know, by meeting the one who went crazy, that brought him into our punk rock scene, because we had a really thriving high school punk rock scene out here until it got destroyed
All of
by
them
the.
were
Because
in,
on the
all
outside,
of
he
them
can
skated.
easily
hardcore.
come off as like the cool guy, douche, suave, like fucking trying to be too cool
Yeah.
and shit.
But you can
And he
be
is
punk
all
like
those
the
things,
ethos,
but he's
not
not,
the
if you
fashion,
know him.
right?
That's correct.
Like the
Yeah.
Legs McNeil original punk is Easy Rider, Peter Fonda.
That's-
What
yeah,
are your
yeah,
brother
yeah.
gets? What do you got?
That's
Like
more what
that's
I gravitated toward, which is
Yeah.
more like
Oh,
the
I'm with
listen to
it.
that
as
sexy
opposed to-
voice.
I was just trying to make
Like
sure I'm
Mike,
on.
Mike
on
can
board.
walk the lines between, like, you know, the underground and the mainstream, like seamlessly, and he's accepted everywhere.
He
Wait,
always
can I-
had girls hanging
Wait,
out.
wait, wait,
Best
wait.
in you as a person.
Hey, let me
I want to put money into you and you.
Wait,
I'm
let
loving
me
this.
tell
I'm
this
actually
story about
stoked you Go
Mike.
to the Sardine,
But
yeah.
Mike always had girls with the sensitivity and his flamboyantness. Say what you want, but he always had girls hanging out.
Yeah. Let me say something about Mike. When Mike first moved out to Arizona, and we were roommates out here the first time, we went to our first punk rock show in downtown Phoenix, right? And we had just barely started drinking. We're on like beer number 1 or whatever. We're hanging outside the house, and Mike goes, "Okay, time to be social. Start talking to people." Wait. And so he walks up to this chick. He sticks out his hand. He goes, "Hi, I'm Mike." She goes, "What the fuck are you on, dude?" Totally blew him. And I lost my shit. I just started laughing. I was like, "He's fucking sober. You fucking cunt. What is wrong?"
Oh,
with
what
you?"
a double cut.
The shit we go through, and then
Dude, that's 2 scoops of cunt.
he probably
Dude.
felt like he lost. Now in hindsight, he'd be like, "Nah, bro, that was a win. You had the balls to fucking walk up to someone. What does she do? She's looked up and down and said yes or no.
It worked more often than it didn't.
You were willing to lose to get what you want.
Trying to find people to hang out. It wasn't like I was trying to get at them. It was just more like, hey, do you want to hang out? Like we're by ourselves.
Like it's not a backhanded compliment, but I've seen you fail so many times that it just inspired me to be like, bro, I've seen him fail so many times that it wasn't a fail anymore. I was like, dude, this guy is like willing to take an L. And that's the most basic principle of, going after chicks and shit. But we're really young and stuff. So like kind of learning what everybody does. And you remember when I met you guys, that was like the second half of my life. I have the whole fucking ghetto gangster hip hop fucking shit that I grew up going to project parties and shit like that. Like that's how I grew up.
Project Pata. Omar's getting fat.
So that's a whole different other type of chicks. Like
I couldn't help myself. Also, after this, I know it's rich coming from me. After his thing, can we give him the clean floor for at least 3 minutes? Because he's the guest, and we keep interrupting him. It's rich coming from Fata.
No, it's
but
better this way.
I know. But I want to give you because we keep touching, and like as soon as you about to get the.
I know. I keep talking about you. I just can't stop.
Cool. Well, to be honest, you guys keep bringing up I've forgotten about. Like it's been so long since I've even like, done stuff around, like even in the same group of people that like. You guys are just bringing up like cool memories that I'm kind of reminiscing about, So,
like
I'm cool either way.
I'm so energized by Mike. Like we talked on the phone like 5 minutes earlier today, and we had to hang up because we're like, we got to save. Like we were saying shit that we need to save already. It was just like I was so excited to be like
what?
So like the porno tapes.
It was like Chris Farley and SNL talking to Paul McCartney. Remember when you were in the Beatles?
His birthday.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
This is a two-sided story for sure. Do you remember when Mike calls? We had a surprise birthday for him, and we made it seem like it was going to be shit, like it was just going to be us and that's it, and nobody was hanging out. And so we did it too well that he ended up stealing 2 bottles, and we had the whole house was full of people just raging, waiting for Mike. Like you could barely even go to the bathroom. Like it was a thick ass fucking crowd, And it was like all of our friends were there just partying. Everybody was already getting like wasted.
Like, no one waits for me.
Nobody gives a shit.
And then this fucker ended up because we would steal a lot of alcohol all the time back in the day.
Yeah, that was our thing.
To be fair, it wasn't.
But you ended up taking 2, and then you told me like the bottles clink.
No, it was.
Can you talk closer?
This particular time was with Jake, and me and him were both walking out with it, and they stopped him, and I pushed them off of him, and then they got me, and then I spent 2 nights in jail.
Can we use nicknames?
19th birthday.
Because you said we used kick his ass.
I promise you, no one knows who you're talking about except you guys.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to say it.
I don't think at this point in the podcast we should, because it's probably only just going to be friends watching for the most part.
Also, the nicknames are also kind of pretty esoteric. It's like, and then fucking peanut butter jelly got tackled by fucking Flip Cup. It's like nobody knows who you're talking about. I promise you, nobody knows who you're talking about.
But if you're from San Pedro, you will know who we're talking about.
Like, of course,
my nickname is Sailor. He's Panda. He's
this is a dude.
He's my call.
It's been such a long time.
I don't have a nickname. Try.
He's
not Sailor. He's Sea Nazi.
You see this boat behind me on this picture?
Sea Nazi. No, we all saw Sea Nazi, and then it turned into Sailor.
With 2 picture friends.
That's the boat I grew up on. I grew up on a sailboat that. Oh wait, guys!
You're referring to the picture behind you.
Guys, something's happening. Whoa, somebody's calling in. This is weird. This isn't a call-in show.
You said the magic.
It might be Lawrence Fishburne in a Calvin.
Caller. Is it? Everybody, shut the fuck up, caller.
It's a surprise, I think.
You're on
Omar,
the air.
shut up. Omar, stop talking. Omar, shut up. Omar, shut up.
All right.
Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Is this the Let's Ruin Our Lives?
Yes, it is. Right. Who's calling in?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for taking my call. This is Eric List, your podcast guest from last week.
Shout out, Eric.
Very cool.
What's up, Eric?
Return of the Mac.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Josh. You're killing it. Good job. Omar, don't worry, you'll get there one day.
Nice.
Mike, what's up, bro?
That
it's your
was
old
a Venmo
roommate.
of at least $12.
Bro.
Just want to give a shout out to my boy.
Nice.
Oh, shit, man.
I know he's listening. So if you hear this, what's good, bro? 40s down on Beacon. I'm down. So, anyways, I just want to get a quick question out there for for the pod, especially Mike. What I don't know if you guys have already covered this, but what is it like being punk but not?
And gay.
Anyways, I'll take my call off the air. Your answer off the air, and have a good night, you guys. And Omar, keep up the good work, brother.
I'll see you tomorrow night, baby.
Thanks for coming in, brother. Love you.
Thanks for coming in, Eric List. I will listen to that second episode tonight when I'm jerking off.
So that was the surprise, guys. We planned that
very
last
cool.
night.
That's awesome.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Way better than I thought it was going to be.
The audio was great.
You know what? I was like, who else could it be besides someone we've already had?
I thought the surprise was going to be that we have a real producer who knows what's going on and a great guest.
Right.
I thought I was going to get black bag and dragged out and dragged to rehab or something.
So I don't know. It's 10 o'clock. We don't necessarily have to take we can just keep going.
That's why I brought 2 sandwiches. Huh? What's up, Bubs? What'd you say?
Oh, I was just saying, we don't necessarily have to take a break. If you guys don't want to, if you just want to keep going, I'm good.
Oh, no, I think we'll do a 5-minute break if you're cool with that, because we're going to smoke a half a little cigarette. We're going to run through some plays.
We got to talk about the birthday.
He's got a wardrobe change, like weird, like Yankovic that we're trying to convince him to do, but he doesn't think that the fucking chicken fight from Family Guy is fun enough to recreate. I'm like, bro, you could look like the chicken in Family Guy. Just
that would be
try this
pretty
on.
amazing.
Well, it's a rubber chicken soup, but my mom made it. But
let's have
go
feelings.
For 2 more minutes. Let's do 2 more minutes.
Yeah, two more is fine. That's how long I have sex.
Do you want
Can we tell Can you finish the birthday story? Because bro, you went to fucking jail.
Hold on,
we're partying at your house.
Somebody talk about something.
Okay, let me say the party half, unless Josh, unless you remember, because you had your own half. So
I think we need to let Mike talk more.
Well, let me, because I want to hear his but he didn't know what happened when we're at the party. And
do you remember the last thing you said before we stopped?
So
when he went to jail.
Yeah. So when we're waiting for him in the parking lot, and then I see my best friends on his birthday walking out and handcuffed. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I think, let's go. I'm sorry. And then we go to his house, and it's just raging, and it's just like, where's Mike?
People were excited to see you.
He's in jail.
Because my roommate at the time
and then his mom comes
like,
up to us, and she's freaking out, and she's like, and
they're
like,
one at a time. One at a time.
I was like, your son is in jail. And it was like, he's lost in the system. We can't find him. And this has been like days. They didn't even know where they arrested him or where they even took him. And then we're just all partying, waking up the next day, and we're just like, should we leave? It's like, nah, Mike's in jail. We could stay. But then also, you had another roommate, and so
we all nicknamed. It's easier.
I know, thank God. And so yeah, we're just chilling at his place, and we're like, well, Lord be with him. And then but to be lost in the system, like,
but from your perspective, it wasn't that way.
No, because it actually worked out in my favor. So I went to 3 different jails in 2 days. Right. So
Jesus.
I picked up on a Friday, and I got released on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, or it might have been Monday, but either way,
because there's no judge on the weekend.
Right. So it's probably a Monday. So I went to Glass House, 77th Street, and I believe County, Twin Towers. But
how ironic.
Because they were processing us so quickly, I would like get in for a second, start going through intake, and then they'd be like, "All right, jumping on a bus, being transferred somewhere else." And so I ended up at Long Beach Courthouse on a Monday at like the middle of the afternoon. And the first like nice person I met was our public defender, and she
did you say she was hot?
Not just hot, but like ethereal.
She's hot in my head, by the way.
Like
how old was
the birthday? She was like 5'2", platinum blonde hair. The first time I've ever seen one, and she I was like handcuffed in the cage, right in the courtroom, and she like leans in the cage, and she's like, "I know it's your birthday. I'm gonna get you out of here. Just plead no contest, and I'll get you out of here." And I was
how old though?
Absolutely no idea.
She's
she
probably
has
in
a
the
real
20s.
job.
How old were you? I can't remember how old.
It's my 19th birthday.
Oh, you're a young buck.
Yeah.
Oh, you could have put her in a coma.
So she pled no contest, and judge was like, "Okay, time served, blah blah blah, you're good to go." And they put us back into the waiting room behind the courthouse, like in the Long Beach courthouse, and they started like taking guys out to send them back to county for the night. And they're like, you guys are gonna get your court dates tomorrow. But we were the last group to get seen that day, and the last group to be let out. I got let out at like 10 o'clock, and I managed to catch the last bus going over the Vincent Thomas back to Pedro.
Damn.
When I came home, all these guys are in my apartment with my roommate, and I was just like, "Hey, what's up?"
That's a scene from a future film of mine.
But your jail days,
You
dude.
just
I
now
remember your
hearing,
story.
I'm putting this motherfucking this whole thing is going in.
Tell him when you were in there. I remember how your bomber jacket
That's
came into
so
play.
gangster.
and
I
how
take
you-
that bus.
Thank
the
God you saying
122
your
over
feet
the
smelled and
Vinny.
One
shit,
at a
like,
time. One at a
and you had a
time.
fight and stuff. Like tell when you were in there.
So
Shit was
as I was
crazy.
in there, right, there's like a bunch of different like things kind of go into your head of like shit, like I don't know how long I'm going to be in here or what's going to happen. I was just young and stupid, and so I happened to at the time I had an aviator bomber jacket, and like they take all your shit when you go into jail, right? Your shoelaces, everything like that, your belt. So like pants are half falling down, right, and it's cold as shit.
Right.
But this jacket fucking saved my life because like it was my only blanket basically because they don't give you shit.
No, they don't give a fuck.
They
Yeah,
don't care at all.
dude.
And at one point when we were intake through to county, there was a dude in front of me who like was he was like kind
So
of
when
like
your grandpa's still really
Don't-
drunk,
don't-
but you know
don't-
he's
don't
gonna
ex-
just like
don't acknowledge him.
walk upstairs. Like, is grandpa awake or is he just fucking sleepwalking?
Do you want to come back to this? We can come back.
Yeah, let's come back to this. Let's take a
Okay.
5-minute break. Come back at 10:07.
Is there a way that you
That's
can
in
make
8
a
minutes.
timestamp of where we left off on the
10:02.
story? No, on the story.
I say we just move on to
Dude,
the,
it's
to the
a
next
no.
one. Just keep going.
It's a really good story.
All right,
The
you
way
want
I
to
remember,
take,
I
like,
think it's
cigarette
really
break?
good.
Yeah.
Like,
All
I
right,
like
stop,
hearing
stop,
everything
stop.
you did in between.
Stop.
Collaborate and listen. Omar's back
Come-
with a brand new intervention.
So I have 10:03 on my end. Let's come back at 10:08.
I love it. Five's good.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, we're taking a break, everybody. We'll be right back. Morgan, keep recording. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette outside. All right, everybody, we are back from our break. You are joining us on the Let's Ruin Our Lives podcast, brought to you from
that right.
the capital city of punk rock, San Pedro, California, and
Ooh,
the
ooh.
slums of Phoenix, Arizona. With us today, we have the hilarious host of the show, Ivan Rodriguez.
Oh shit. Omar got
Oh,
demoted
boo, boo,
to
boo. And then-
handsome guy.
Another one of the hosts, Omar Tassi. And I'm Joshua Hensley.
Balls.
And joining us today is one of my best friends in the world, martial artist and interior designer, Mike Laolagi.
The man,
Give
the
it
myth,
up,
the legend,
everybody.
by the way.
The man, the fucking legend himself. He is
just met this
notorious
guy.
in a very
I'm on
small
board.
town. Yeah, Mike
To a
rules.
very specific set of people.
Would buy stock in this guy.
And nobody else, but that's totally cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks for that, man. I
Um,
appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Mike, are you doing like streaming or like gaming content online or something?
No, but I think that's the next step for me, man, because I do it so fucking often that
You mean like playing games?
yeah,
or
playing games,
gaming or whatever?
multiplayer, that kind of stuff. And we were talking about this off camera for a bit, but like in life, it's so difficult to find things that you're like really, really passionate about. And one of the things that like I love to do now is like working out and stuff, but also like gaming. Like those are like my two things I love to do every day, you know. But in addition to that, I was talking to this old guy the other day at work, and we were talking just about like history and stuff. And he's like an old dude from like the Vietnam era. And
Oh wow, that's old.
we were just talking kind of about like the geopolitical stuff that's going on in the world. And I was kind of telling him like, hey man, like it's not your generation's fault that like all of this shit happened. Like you guys didn't know any better now, right? And so he kind of suggested me, he's like, hey man, are you like going to school for anything? And I was like, no. And he's like, I think you should like go and try to go into like history, man, like get a history doctorate. And like it just kind of like clicked in my head immediately. And I was like, shit, man, I could talk about history with people all goddamn day.
For
Like,
sure.
I think you'd be a good teacher.
or just as it's a passion, like something that
Right.
you love to do.
Right.
And like for our entire lives, especially like me, Omar, and Josh, like finding your passion was like the hardest thing. And these guys had music like already. I
So
was
you're not a musician.
not at all. And like
Oh, I didn't
was,
know that.
I was one of the
He's a-
only guys in the group that
But
was
he's still an artist.
was never
He's a
like,
dancer.
do love to dance, took dancing lessons. That was really fun.
Wait,
I
really?
didn't know
Oh,
you
that's
took
cool.
lessons.
Oh yeah,
Well,
You
you thought that
never
was
told me
natural?
that. Is that where you got
many
the thing with the arms from?
many a girl's first dates was like salsa lessons and stuff like that.
Dude,
Oh,
absolutely.
sick.
My sister
Yeah,
taught me
Mike,
how to salsa.
Mike gave me confidence to
And then she
like
bullied
when I
me
would see him
mercilessly.
dance with girls and shit. I was like, fuck, well, look at him, dude. He's not ashamed. All right, fucking, he's shaking them hips. Like,
Is-
seeing our boys that weren't afraid to
Dude,
actual dance.
look,
that
let
wasn't
me
just
show
like
you-
the homie dance. You know, the whole finger. Fucking.
Let me
I
show
like
you
the
how
elbow
Mike.
cholo
This
dance.
is how Mike would dance at punk rock shows.
Give
Oh,
it
we
to
got
us.
an act out. Here we
Give it
go.
to us. Dun, 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 It was like if we were in a Joy Division music video. That's
I
how
like
I
that.
pictured myself. Yeah.
Oh, I
It
like
was
that.
like
Yeah.
no, he was dancing.
He lost control.
Mike
he
always
was
danced like it
dancing
was
to-
a club.
Like it was different music. It was like club music, and
Yeah.
it's fucking hardcore punk rock or like weirdo fucking punk.
He was quite
And
literally
he's
marching
just
to the beat of his own
dancing.
drummer.
It
He's
felt
just-
like
yeah.
ethereal house music mixed with like real like punk realism. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow.
Because like I mean, I'll be honest. Like,
He was
lots
at the
of punk
wrong.
music
Like,
Hey,
he was
sounds the
listening to
fucking
different
same,
music.
you know. And so after a
He
while, you
had
kind of just
headphones
like
on.
feel your own.
That's
way
a
about
good
it.
that's a good way to put it. Can you say that again about the punk realism with the ethereal?
Yeah, before I interrupted.
Did ya?
No, because I absolutely forgot what it was. I have to clip it.
That you had
No
no problem
problem.
dancing at punk shows because for you it was just like you knew how to dance salsa. You were just kind of like
To
was
him,
more
it
of
was
an-
just
it was more-
music, and
Yeah, it was more of an
like the-
expression of just like you
Right.
being in the pit. Like, because you see guys like let
the
themselves go,
community.
yeah, when they go into a circle pit and they start going at it, right? Like that's just you
Right.
letting go and being yourself.
yes.
And so for me, like I always kind of felt like sort of on like the outside a bit because like these guys were all way more punk than I was.
Sure.
But like the idea was that like
That's a great way to interrupt
Yeah,
the
yeah,
podcast.
If you're
a jean jacket too. Yeah.
if you're not holding
All right.
Omar's phone in front of your face,
Yeah, show the people at home.
it's Omar's Bumble profile picture. It's him and
You-
60.
I don't know if
it's
it's
all
good
you-
to see it.
okay.
Yeah.
They can't
It's
see
just a
it.
crowd of
Swiping
people.
now
We get
on.
it. Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Dad, Grandma can't see you if you stand that close to the computer. Sorry, Dad just had a stroke, but he's back.
Hey, but at the end of the night, who had
Different
girls
strokes.
coming over to the apartment?
What you talking
But
about?
let's be clear though, like the girls came over, like I being raised by a single mom, like it was
Lucky.
never about like oh I just want to hook up. Like a lot of our friends, that was the main goal. That was cool if it happened, but like I much rather would like, hey, are you gonna be a friend? Like, are you gonna like show up and be
No,
around?
yeah, you
Which
you
is why
weren't a
s-
gigantic piece of shit.
Right.
Right,
And some
exactly.
of our friends were, and that fucking sucks. But like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the idea that like, you know, you could have friends that were girls and it be
Yes.
sort of platonic. Obviously it did lead to like hooking up with like their friends, that kind of thing, right? If they thought you were
Yes.
cool. But,
Hell
like,
yeah, that's the
But like the idea that
It
like,
wasn't
you know,
a driving
it just
force.
always had to be about
Right.
banging, like that just that
Right.
sucks. That's just lame. It's always gonna
May I
be
ask
there.
you a question?
Yeah.
Do you ever think that maybe you weren't like what they call like a pussy hound because you didn't have like the father figure that was like, hey, to be a real man, you got to plow puss.
Yeah.
You were like,
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
live
If
with
I
a
can
woman
say
who I
something-
love and
Absolutely.
molded me,
Yeah.
and she demands
Can I say
respect,
something?
and she maybe didn't get the respect she deserves. So the least I
Yeah.
can do is be a respectful.
Seeing how
person.
it failed for my parent or
Right.
for my parents and how
Yeah.
it didn't go well for them,
That's real.
I didn't want to be that. You know?
That's awesome.
There was times because you and I forgot this shit, and like my memory is like the Matrix 2 when they're in that hallway with the fucking all the doors and the keys. Like
Nice.
they're there, but I don't remember it until I find the right key. So my fucking brain is just the whatever are firing off. So I remember one time because of that, because I've had other flamboyant friends, and even one of my brother's friends, like greaser girls, older brother, was like that too. And that's like hood shit, where you're just like, if you're flamboyant when growing up.
Now, when
in
you say
gangster hood-
flamboyant, what do you mean? Eccentric, maybe?
gay.
no, sometimes there's friends.
Well,
that
no,
are- that are
flamboyant and
100%
gay and eccentric are three
No.
different things. No.
Flamboyant means you have feminine mannerisms and traits, but you could be 100% not gay. But like they
See,
might.
I didn't think flamboyant meant that.
I don't
thought
think-
flamboyant
yeah,
was
I
like
don't-
be like
In
openly.
the
know, but like,
2000s, we
Forrest Gump,
didn't
right?
quite
Be
When
like,
he was
hey,
the
man.
vernacular.
It's like I thought that's what flamboyant meant.
No,
If anything,
like-
I think that's homophobia speaking.
No, like
'cause,
Forrest
well,
Gump.
anybody
Sure, but
can
I be
flamboyant.
flamboyantly fat by eating ketchup in front of you in an
Yeah,
airport?
for sure.
Remember
Peacocks
when
are
Forrest-
flamboyant.
I'm misgendering the word flamboyant.
Remember Forrest
Exactly.
Gump's
Okay,
like,
it's
I don't.
They're stupid.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is, and he goes like this. And he's just on
Forrest Gump.
the point. Like he's not gay. He banged Jenny.
Forrest
and he
Gump.
got the-
To this day, Jenny, is there any worse villain in any movie?
Is there a
That's,
worse
wait,
Forrest
stop.
Gump impression?
That's been. I'm sorry,
me
that's
finish,
been
let me
discussed
finish.
on so many podcasts.
finish,
We do
What,
not
that
need to
Forrest
talk about
Gump
that.
is unbelievable?
Is there was times
It's
where you
definitely
guys
not.
forget that just because I was kind of back then, I'm more like quiet in my head. I still had the you could take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the homeboy shit, right? And you know Mike is chaotic,
Raised around
and
black
there was
people, isn't it?
times where his flamboyantness and the crazy parties we would go to was
Yes.
more gangster shit. where they wanted to fuck him up. There's so many times they wanted to fuck up Mike because either they thought he was gay or he's taking someone's chick, and I had to just chill them the fuck out and be like, "That's my boy. If you're gonna fuck with him, you're gonna fuck with me." And I forgot about moments.
Man. It's like,
but you never knew that.
No eyebrows. This is literally news to me.
And I forgot about those moments so now. You're like, oh shit! Like
this has happened multiple times.
Multiple times.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate
like
it. Good shit.
You go down memory lane like this ever at all?
Well, I guess if we're thinking about the same like events, right? In my head, it's just like, oh, fun time, getting to know interesting new people. But maybe in like Omar's world, what's happening is like motherfuckers are looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Like you created
again,
memory.
Again, you got to remember that at the time Mike was, and I don't mean to insult you or anything, but I think we're speaking very candidly about each other.
Sure.
Oh shit.
Flamboyant, cool guy, douchey.
At the time, Mike was a bit of a douchebag, pretty self-absorbed. He didn't really see anything peripherally, so I can definitely see situations where people wanted to fuck him up. It was definitely
had your back so many times without you even knowing.
Mike is only vindictive to the people that he loves. So he would never intentionally try to steal someone's girl or fucking fuck someone. No. But again, he didn't really care about fucking people over. He was kind of person that wanted to fuck him up
is like, yeah, but why is your girl talking to him then?
So
that ain't your girl. Did you guys ever want to be him for a night?
Fuck no.
Be honest with yourself.
No, I got enough from Mike. Too much. I learned a lot, but like,
no, seriously, no. Is that because you guys were like doing well with your own thing?
No,
or just because you view him in one way, and you're like, oh, I don't. At least I'm not that guy.
In a positive way.
Mike let his apartment be very accessible to all the friends and stuff, and so we took advantage of that.
Definitely
I probably took more advantage of that than anybody else because I lived on a boat and I never wanted to be there, and it was a daily mission to get into San Pedro. Yeah. And so I needed places to stay. Mike was already like my best friend at the time. One of we were the crew, you, me, and Crazy.
Yeah.
And and Omar too. I would always crash at Omar's. He never had a problem with that. I'd crash with the two brothers who are white. They're the only normal white people that we know.
Dude,
the two
I used
brothers.
to go to your house to eat food, man. Like there'd be times when during that period of time.
He
money
would
was scarce. Like it was always money for booze and drugs, but not
the barter
food.
System. Yeah.
And so his mom used to fucking feed us. Like hey,
okay. So to make this more relatable to a broader audience, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike, but to make this more relatable to a broader audience, alcoholism. Mike and I.
Hold on. Let's.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought. Our friendship relied heavily upon getting fucking blackout drunk every single night for like
that's absolutely true.
5 years.
Fun time.
We were roommates. We were roommates in Arizona at like 3 different places, and fucking for years we just got shit faced. So Mike, I'm still a bit of an alcoholic. I drink nightly. My excuse is that I needed to sleep. How did you get out of that alcoholism? How did you? Because I know you've lost a ton of weight. You're thinking way more clearly now. Like you're like a new man,
It was halfway intentional, halfway like circumstantial, like luckiness, I'd say, where like got real into working out, right, and was still drinking like every night after working out, and just. You know how they talk about like the way your brain works is that when you get into a habit, it's
glitching out. It's glitching out. We might need Morgan. Hold on, we might need Morgan. The video's super fucked up and it's glitching.
Okay,
we're on it.
Yeah, it's saying it's buffering, so we're just gonna give it a second, let it stabilize, and then we'll finish that thought. There's also a delay on my end. I want to refresh, and I'll refresh, and we'll.
Josh, I'm getting an update on my phone that your alcoholism is causing the delay. Can you get that shit figured out, please?
Aneurysm,
just drink water and have a worse time.
I think you need to call
It's not that hard.
Okay, everybody, we're back. We had some technical difficulties.
Omar got called into his new job as a Wendy's shift manager. Apparently, he's not allowed to get paid in spicy nuggets.
Oh, you know what, Ivan?
But he's trying to fight that.
Let's talk about Ivan for a second here. You had a show last week. That's why you couldn't make it on the pod. But I guess you got called into work. What happened with all that?
I'm a member of the working poor. So I moved out to LA with $1,000 5 years ago. I'm still here, but my rent is like $2,000 a month for a 2-story townhouse in San Pedro.
Yeah.
Which
That's
my
pretty
wife
good.
loves. Yeah, but she's also a cute bartender, so she has her half of the bills week
Nice.
too. My thing is I'm in film school, but I also have some irons on the fire. I have a YouTube channel that nobody watches. I play poker
Plug it.
online.
What's it called?
It's Ivan Durham, because my name's Ivan Rodriguez, but I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I have, I think I have 2 subscribers, maybe 3. My dad might be 2 out of 3 because he can't get into his Caribe.net email address.
Is it you with
Ivan
the NASA
Durham,
shirt on?
It is. That's me with a. It's actually not a NASA shirt. It's a Masa shirt.
How do you spell
MASA.
Oh, it is.
It's an LA clothing line called True Cooks. Shouts to True Cooks.
Okay, I'm gonna try to share.
Long story short, I moved here 2 months before the pandemic. I didn't have shit to do.
All
I was
right,
on unemployment.
everybody, go like and
subscribe. I had a GoPro. I taught myself how to edit.
Yeah.
There's videos of me doing stand-up comedy.
Can you see his YouTube channel?
Yeah, we can. Restaurant reviews.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Everybody go like and subscribe. He's a very, very funny comedian.
I'll tell you guys this now. If I get 5
Ivan.
new subscribers in the next month, I will bring this channel back. With zero plan to monetize, I need an outlet. This is great, but just the fact that you plugged it.
This is you?
I'll take it. Yeah, it's me.
I'm 35.
35, baby. If I get to 40 subscribers by the end of the month.
You know what the first thing I thought of
I'm probably going to do it anyway because I want to interview him on my pod.
Is that his voice? I was like, dude, this guy sounds like fucking Dave Attell. And he has a certain cadence and rhythm.
Oh, one of my favorites.
And that's just how he talks. He's not even doing a bit. He's just like, hey, what's up?
I yuck it up like a dipshit.
If she got freckles on her ass, it's
if
probably...
I get 40 subscribers by the end of the month, real quick, I will do the first episode back on the YouTube channel. We're going to go around to San Pedro and get lunch at Busy Bee.
Yes.
And then we're going to Perozzi's, where I work, and get a sandwich as well. And then we're just going to go to the park in front of A1, eat some sandwiches, and just talk. And it'll just be a one-on-one. You heard it here first.
You've done so many drugs at that park, Josh.
5 subscribers.
In the past? The park he's talking about in front of A1?
Oh, dude.
Mike, so Ivan, you were saying how... So, Ivan, you're still relatively new in comedy. 6 years is still considered pretty new.
No, less than 6. I did my first open mic June 12th, 2019. Right? Yeah.
Where was your first open mic at?
It's Durham, North Carolina, at Dirty Bull Brewing Company.
And we're back, everybody. Deepest apologize. Hey, we are back at the worst podcast to ever exist.
That's not so bad.
Omar, I feel like you had
dead
questions.
Kennedy radio.
You're a dead Kennedy.
Bro, I have a million stories about Mike, so I want to share a short one. Like, it's funny how we know things, but we don't always have the words for it, right? So, douche, durka.
Trying to reconnect.
Durka.
And connected.
Rhubarb. Just tell me when to go, Mr. Hensworth. Jimmy, the time I used to... We bathed ourselves in blood and all the... Grows to the man marches on.
I'm so glad that it's glitched out right now.
No, I censored myself. I didn't cut out. I just...
Was that
Damn,
some weird American History
Did you really think that glitched out? Like, these guys are here.
He was doing Ethan Suplee in America's History X.
No, it did both.
Is that what he was doing?
I know, it did both.
Like,
yes, that's a very popular thing on... That's a very popular thing on the Legion of Skanks podcast. It's been done.
What's
been
funny
done
is
on
that like they kind of missed the whole point.
Well, Josh,
of it, right?
if
like,
you ever need to push the red button, like
racist movies,
if you need a distraction, just go Omar.
I don't
distract.
know. What should we do, Morgan?
Discovering.
You have so much to say.
Yeah, hate
okay, it's better.
Just destroys,
for sure.
And then it's
yes.
It does. Mike sounds soft over here. Are you able to hear him in the
one of my favorite endings to a movie as well?
We need to tell his fucking sexy ass
magic. Also,
it all ends up being bullshit.
Right.
But it's also just like that's the repercussions
Hey,
of
Calvin
of that
Klein
lifestyle.
commercial. Speak up.
You'd also like to think too that like Danny didn't like go down that path. He kept
Morgan,
straight
you
with
call it
himself
if you're
and,
like, yeah.
got his shit together. You know,
I don't
like, you'd
care
like to
if you
hope,
don't know the
hope
guests.
that's
You're
the
like
way it
Mike.
went, you know?
No, for
Fucking
sure.
point-
And I actually think of the interaction with the way he got killed by the kid who killed him.
Don't be afraid to abuse your
A great thing
power,
that kind of
Morgan.
gets missed is that had Derek
You got
Vineyard
tattoos for a reason.
found the light earlier,
Yeah.
Danny doesn't have the scuffle with the black kid who kills him
Right.
because he just.
African American, you can't say black. Remember that racist.
Oh, you're not
Yeah.
allowed to say black
Well, what
anymore?
color is his shirt?
Uh,
African American.
Oh.
Well, you don't want to offend anybody.
but it's
As most things.
I
are.
wish Danny hadn't have died.
Danny.
It was
Like, what's the
necessary for
moral of
story.
American History X by Danny dying?
the same moral in
Like-
187.
like,
Macho is bullshit.
Is that the repercussions
It
of
kind
your
of-
actions
great
have
movie.
consequences? you know?
Under-
It's
Underrated.
the repercussion. I guess so. Yeah.
It's
It
that.
means God
and
doesn't
I guess they
exist.
could-
by the
Happy
gun,
life.
Or he
die
has
by
a great
bullet.
sense of humor.
It's if you're
One
gonna
at a
talk the talk,
One at a
you're
time,
gonna walk the
fellas.
walk, but you're also gonna fucking die if you stand for something that hardcore.
And if you don't do it soon enough,
That's
it might be
true.
too
And
late,
a
you know.
And a movie like that, it couldn't have a storybook ending. I guess it needed to be as gritty as possible. Like,
Remember
and
the
it
chick
really
from
show, like,
Waterboy
the
was in it?
hopelessness in
Fairuza
America, I
Balk,
guess.
one of my first
my
crushes
God.
of
Why
all
are
time.
Nazi
Yeah,
chicks
Fairuza
so
Balk.
sexy?
I love
Hot
Fairuza
as
Balk. Are you
fuck.
fucking kidding me, dude?
The Craft.
She
Oh
is
Craft.
hot
Best
as
movie.
fuck.
love that movie.
Best movie. The Craft.
Also,
Yes.
the craft
Oh
is
my
weird if you're
God.
dating a goth chick because
That's a
they're
good
all
movie.
like rewinding the scene where they're like talking about how you have to cut yourself properly to kill yourself. It's like, she cut the veins the wrong way. I'm like, oh, that's some deep
Right.
dark shit.
You,
Dude,
you
because
realize like
she's-
the Craft is like probably the what
For
got
sure.
most like regular girls into like gothism, like in the
I
mainstream.
completely
you know
agree.
what I'm
We're
saying?
not recording, right? Because I'm gonna say
Yeah.
something that I don't
Omar's
know.
gonna talk
We
about his
are
first
recording.
girlfriend.
Okay,
Oh,
she
good.
was so hot
We're-
that it was just like, and she's so
We
evil.
are recording. We're recording. We're recording. We're recording.
Oh,
I was gonna say, is it okay to rape
Yeah,
a
just
Nazi
say it,
woman?
you fucking big fat
No.
coward.
Because I'm Hispanic, she'd be like, you fucking bitch, you
No.
hate me, don't you, you sexy fucking racist?
That doesn't matter.
That's a
I'm
concern, but I like
Korean. I
it.
can't rape a Japanese
Is it okay
woman.
to
Wait, why
rape a
can't you?
Nazi woman?
Yeah,
Why not? What do you mean?
Yes
It's
or
a
no?
good. It's a good.
I don't
question.
understand the logic because one is an act of crime, and then everything else is
It's
just
because
like,
because
No
a
dumb
Nazi
question, right?
is so evil. It's like the epitome
Exactly.
of evil, right?
raping
like,
evil.
is it okay to do injustice to unjust people? The answer is no. That's why
No.
democracy exists.
But what
you
if she's super
schlong
sexy?
don't make a white.
Not
You can't just
What if
go
they're
around
super sexy?
raping bad people all you want.
Yeah, but she's like super hot though.
The
What if
Spaniards
she's
did it.
super hot?
It's a tricky
Like,
question.
Then
huh?
no,
Fucking
even less.
tenant-
The Spanish raped everybody. They raped the Mexicans into existence. They raped the
Guilty.
Filipinos into existence.
Stop saying that word. How about
That-
say
That was crazy.
let's just say snuggle struggle, huh? Or forced love,
What?
or
Forced love is a good way of putting it, man.
Jesus,
you know-
how much have you thought about this?
you bring these ideas to my fucking
You
brain.
came up with catchphrases.
You did have a pocket full
Snuggle
of miracles
struggle.
with your
What was the-
questions.
I said snuggle struggle.
I said forced
we're not
love.
naming it Snuggle Struggle. I
Or
want.
God- Let's call it God's
Snuggle struggle is kind of strong now.
God's mercy in the garage. How about that?
That's
God's mercy in the
spicy.
garage.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god.
Filipino karaoke. Strong.
All right, we'll call this episode God's mercy in the garage.
Oh my god. Clip it. Clip it.
That's like a band
Oh,
name
that's
or a
not
song name. It's something. It
This
has a
is
little fucking.
We can only
You just
say
snap your
things like
fingers
this
to
to
it.
attract people to us.
Well, okay. To,
And do
to
the
be fair,
twist.
though, like Josh, I'm sure you could agree with this too. Like, if there's one thing that you would probably like kill somebody over, is if like there's a female friend or relative of yours that went through a situation like that, and your reaction to them would be
Speak up, you
exactly
fucking
as
smooth
you would,
fucking
as you would
bastard.
think, right? Like, there's
I
no
can hear.
justification ever, right?
What?
It's one of those things that like if it ever happened to a relative or someone you knew, you would definitely like.
Yeah, in the heat of the
Oh, I would
moment.
kill for sure.
In the heat of the moment, for sure. But at the same time, it's like we don't want to live by the rule of tooth and nail. You know what I mean? Or yeah, tooth. You know what I mean? Like the laws of
Yeah.
the jungle. You can't
I
just
mean,
fucking go around assaulting people and killing people and shit. We all need to be held accountable. And I think that's one of the things I like about the idea of democracy is that there should be, what's it called?
Hammurabi's
due
chode.
process. People need to, like, I used to believe in anarchy, you know what I mean? And I took acid and mushrooms at the same time with Mike in the middle of the desert while we were drunk as shit.
Yeah.
Fucking singing the Pokemon
theme
song with some raver girls.
With like 30 people, yeah.
And during the come down of that, it was like 5 hits of acid. I don't know how much mushroom.
Jesus Christ!
But at like the come down after the peak, I was like,
also
wait
took
a
mushrooms
minute.
too? Oh shit!
I was.
What did the tabs look
Mike
like?
and I
Wait,
were
alcohol,
going,
mushrooms,
Mike and
acid,
I
and Pokemon.
melded minds at one point.
Save some pussy for the rest of us.
And weed for like 12 hours. It took us 12 hours to get to this event.
That's when I had to drive on this.
Real quick, Mike and I were.
No way.
We locked ourselves in the cab of my truck because we just couldn't be around fucking other people,
so
and
many
we were
people were
creating
around us.
realities in each other's minds.
Is that what he called it, Josh?
Mike,
Is that what he
do you
told
remember that? It was like we had like
You guys
sort
are
of
the simulation.
So
we had sort of manifested like an outside. We had sort of manifested like an outside computer mind, but it was in our brains, and we were creating realities that existed. Anyways,
was your
my
mouth
point was
open
that
at all, or
I realized
did he
that
tell you just like this would be a lot
the
easier for
universe
Lightback?
is not chaos. The universe is perfect order. The universe can only act upon the laws that it itself provides.
Are you reading that off a computer monitor right now?
No, he's white.
No,
and,
he's just
and
deep
Asian.
deep
the
so he's
one in
super
my
smart.
brain.
No, you were
This
giving
is
reading
just
off
what
a prompter vibes. I just wanted to make sure.
So I don't know. It made me respect the idea of like human beings are fucking savage animals, and we need laws, and that sucks.
I don't disagree
but
with that.
You seriously can't trust a fucking pack of human beings, no matter how big, how small. Look at that same event, Mike. You and I had a fucking hippie steal right in front of us, and then helped us try to look for the fucking thing. And then I know he was going to try to dose you. We kind of talked about that on the last episode.
Oh,
with
that's
Eric,
some hippie
but,
shit right there.
Let me connect this to.
I don't know.
the topics.
You can't just fucking go around people down because you don't like the things they say, or even if they did something like, I don't know, like you fucking get them arrested, like rough them up a little bit. I don't know, man, but
Who the fuck wants to talk to
killing
somebody with all the
raping
time?
a hot Nazi. Can you rape a hot Nazi? Let's leave it to
Yes.
the fans. Comment and like.
I say yes, but it's still
we'll see
wrong.
what they have to say. Okay, next subject here.
Well, let me tie it into the
God,
other the energy.
Mike?
Omar wants to go.
Let me
Omar
tie
wants
it
to
all
go.
in. Let me tie it all in.
Sprezzatura.
We're almost done. We have like we got 20 more minutes, guys.
Well, there's two things I want
so
to tie
Mike,
into that has to do with Mike. It is with Mike.
That was something that you helped me understand more, because I went through sort of like a Christian phase, like almost newborn, where I just learned about Jesus a lot. And then Mike just like really broke it down one night. He was like, dude, God doesn't fucking judge you. God isn't this thing that fucking wants you to never do all these like ridiculous, like, you broke it down in such a way that was really profound. And I know that you grew up Christian. So,
Very much so.
What sort of like led you to being much more I guess open-minded spiritually? And like outside
I
of
was
the,
kidding. I don't think God is
know,
gay, by the way.
the box.
He's ripped.
Was it drugs, alcohol, sex?
Drugs, definitely all of those things contributed to it. But I mean, at the end of the day, all of that stuff for all of us, you know, it was a way of escaping just like the daily pain of what we were going through, and also like the trauma that we had all been through, but didn't have any way of like recognizing it or addressing it. So the only thing you could do was just get fucked up with your friends and shoot the shit and have fun, right? But as I got older, I started to kind of like get into like therapy and realizing that like everything about you comes from somewhere else, right? Your entire childhood leads you to what you are and how you think and how you behave and how you perceive things. And so understanding that about myself, like for the longest time when I was a Christian, I was always finding ways to justify the stories by like trying to put like a scientific or like a natural spin on it, right? To be, like justify like, oh yeah, they didn't really mean this, they meant this. And then as I got older, I just kind of like, I don't know, it's the same way you start thinking about like Greek mythology, where like it sounds good, but there's no proof. It's just they expect you just to believe
critical
it.
thinking.
Say that again.
Well, it doesn't dismiss it, but like critical thinking.
Right. And when you
Yes.
really like get down to it, like everyone is entitled to believe whatever he wants, right? But like, if you were to go into a crowd of
Absolutely.
people and say, I'm really glad Zeus blessed us with this rain and lightning today, they'd be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, because that's not accepted now. But
Right.
now it's accepted as this thing. But when we talk to the majority of religious people, they don't really give a shit. It's just a kind of a blanket that like makes
Right.
them feel good about themselves, right?
Sure.
Because if you accept this,
It's kind of like a cultural like blanket, like background, something to lean on.
right.
But
like,
Mike can sense energy. If it is bullshit, you could try to lie, but I'm confident that Mike could sense it, like feel it, like it is bullshit.
Yes,
It's-
we've all taken psychedelics. We know.
it's one of those feelings where like
Talking about sober.
you want it to be true for sure, and for a lot of people it is, and maybe that's enough that it actually exists because of that, but because we don't have any concrete proof, and because of, I mean, again, back to the history thing, like the history of religion has been a bane on civilization. It has been more of a detriment than it's been positive, and to this day, right?
Really?
Now we are still dealing.
You think?
with
You really
crazies.
think? You don't think it's like half and half?
I think
I'm
the
sure
problem with
it's not even
religion
it's
is
like half
the
and
people.
half.
it's probably always fluctuating of just constant. It's better or it's worse, but
Yeah.
in the end,
It's a
better
spectrum.
it's for you individually,
Like
to
gay
better
sex.
yourself. Sure.
And autism.
That's where I say more. I think I have more of a problem with religion when it comes to people. I think if people approach
Wait, you
religion
said you were
like
God.
philosophy and shit. No, because like that, like the first time I discovered energy to someone else, realized it was mine. Okay, it was something where like I've had things that I've already known, but I've never seen it witnessed or had it explained. Like I've always been a critical thinker, but I didn't know what that term was until one day it's like, oh, okay. One of the earliest memories I have about Mike, where there was like the first or second party, I don't know. We had at the end of the party, it was kind of winding down, and people kind of lay down crashing, and you're like talking to sleep.
Yeah.
And then the room was divided into two halves. And then I noticed Mike like standing against the door, just kind of like. And I was like, dude, are you all right? I was like, dude, this is awesome. And he was just like, if he was fucking the Riddler and Batman, like Jim Carrey, like he was absorbing the energy of everyone having a great time and their good vibes. You're like, dude, I'm just absorbing everyone's vibes right now. And
I can remember that. Yeah.
he was almost like getting high off of it. And like, I do that. I never witnessed someone explain it and actually just say it like he said it like everyone knows that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. Like, I've never witnessed someone like not only openly but like say it so easily, and now something I kept to myself. I never knew how to express it, and you kind of gave me words for it. It's like, dude, I'm just absorbing your energy, and anyone else would be like, this fucking stoner,
to
fucking
put it
hippie,
like a little less like woo woo and shit. It was sort of like this, if you grow up in a household that's like always negative, right? And you imagine this, right? So like all of our friends come from diverse backgrounds, right? And the feeling I got from bringing everyone together into one place, no matter their background, no matter any kind of beefs they had or racial or whatever, doesn't matter, right? And everyone just comes to one place, they all get fucked up, and then they don't fight, they all groove together, listen to good music, some hook up, some don't, but everyone's feeling it, and then that collective feeling of everyone just like, oh, I feel good. Like that just, I don't know, it just...
What they call it now a safe space.
Yeah.
Right? That's a
And
popular term.
that's
drunk-
what
it
you
was a
said.
drunken
You
one,
mentioned
for
my
sure.
mom earlier. That's exactly what my mom did. It was like, when we get this, we always lived in apartments. That's the first house we ever had. Like, we get this house, it's for everybody. We grew up crazy fucking 1-5
Oh,
block,
when did you
RF
start
streets
living
and
in
shit.
that house?
When I was probably around in high school, maybe like 10th grade, just as a guess.
Oh, what? Really?
Roughly.
I didn't realize
Because we
it
had
was that
shows there.
recent.
Remember, like Gatekeeper and all these
Wow.
metal bands and shit. But I'm saying Mike was the first
Yeah,
friend
shout
that
out
was
Gatekeeper.
more like a spiritual kind of type energy, like hippie shit, where this gets dismissed. But I instantly got that, and I feel like most people didn't. Weren't kind of open like that,
Ivan, do you think that
couldn't
like
even tap into those
people
energies
can
because they
read
do
energy?
exist. It's not a fucking
For sure.
opinion.
Ivan,
like,
do you think that's real?
I do. But I have my own theories about energy reading.
Alan Watts,
too.
Einstein? It's not even an opinion.
course.
Like, our brains are like radio waves. Like
There's more to all
Shout
of
out
this than
Terrence
what we
McKenna.
perceive, right?
That's a good one. Also,
Yeah,
I
we
play a
can't
lot of
perceive a
poker
fraction of
tournaments
it.
online and in person.
Yeah.
And when I'm playing in person, the information absorbing that I'm doing is all physical. Like if it's an old Asian guy and he's ramming and jamming every hand, my range is going to be very wide against that player. If it's an old white guy sipping coffee who hasn't touched his chips in an hour, maybe I'm not 3-betting ace queen against that guy, right? But when I play online, it's just names and stack sizes. But I realize that I'm still picking up information, but they're in timing tells. So if it's a player that takes a really long time all the time, but now they're checking quickly or betting quickly, or they missed the flush draw, now they're snap going all in, or other nerdy stuff. If the flush card hits and they slam all in, or they check and take an extra second and bet a stupid sizing, I can just figure out what I'm gonna do, and I've never seen this person in my life. But it's all information, which is just like that's an energy transfer, I think, as well.
Of course, I got
it's
a
just
lot.
how you
Like, he would have
process it.
books where I don't know if Josh left books. So that's the first time I ever read about Charles Bukowski and Kurt
book?
Vonnegut, because you
Those are
just have
definitely
books
Josh's
there.
books.
Sometimes I'd just be chilling there, or you
Yeah.
guys would pass out, or I'd wait for you, and I'd just
Love
start
Charles
reading it
Bukowski.
through them. And you guys would, tell me about fucking Bert Carlin and shit. I'm like, who's that guy? And it was just a hub for all of our friends to just exchange all.
I do want to say I have about 5 or 10 more than I do have to roll, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Doesn't that sound good?
I would love to do that.
I'm sorry, I can't stop bragging about you, Mike. I'm sorry.
Like originally what we were talking about.
Tell the
before,
acid story. He remembers my first time I did acid, and I have no clue, and
Yeah.
that involves Josh too. Josh is in that story.
Josh, do you remember the first time we did
There's
acid on
too.
the
I
coast?
think there's a bit too much. Do you? Okay, I mean, yeah, we got like a 12 minutes left, coming up on 11 minutes left to 30.
Tell the story.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
All right. Actually, no.
We-
Let's
Go
do an easier one. Let's do
Please,
Okay.
because I have no memory, no recollection.
Do you remember? Do you remember?
It was-
CAR men.
Yeah, no. Greaser girl. He calls her Greaser girl.
Oh,
It's
okay,
Greaser
okay, yeah, Greaser
Girl.
Girl.
Yeah.
It's Greaser Girl, myself, Mike, and Crazy. And me,
Yes.
Mike, and Crazy took like 2.5 to 3 hits each of at the time the best acid any of us had ever had. It was the
Right.
second time I took it.
That's why I
And
remember.
and then
we went to the
you
coast.
only we went to Sunken City, met up with some
That's
people
all I
there.
remember.
Omar only took 1 hit,
Did you? actually
and
fix
so
it? But didn't affect you, right?
No, it did.
It
that was the
affected
first time
him,
ever.
it just
I only
wasn't-
remember the memories at Sunken
so
City.
this
and
is
that's it.
actually a good story because a part of this has Omar hating me in the middle of this.
That's the
So-
same. That's the same story.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's the same
Holy
story. So we're
shit,
at
I didn't know
we're at the
that.
coast, and it's,
That's okay.
we're
You
at
can
the
tell it.
coast. It's starting to kick in. Greaser Girl is like, I don't know, she's just drinking.
Let's hear
32s.
Mike say
She
it.
didn't
I
take
wanna
any of
hear
the
Mike say it.
acid. And then we all went back to Mike's and put on the Doors movie.
That's the same
So,
night.
so before that,
Oh,
right,
that's a
while,
choice,
while
huh?
we're at Sunken City,
That is a
right,
choice.
we all kind of like go off on our own different directions. And I remember standing on the edge of the cliff, and it wasn't like suicide or anything, but I was just kind of staring at the ocean. And I can remember it starting to kick in, and I could see the water turning into vapor, like condensating into the air, and it made me like cry. Like it was so
Oh, wow,
beautiful
yeah.
to watch. And then right after, I went running like in a fucking frenzy down. These guys just like stoked as fuck. Like, oh my god, guys, you wouldn't believe anything. And all of them are just like as happy and giddy as can be. And they're just like, we're all fucking tripping. And I'm like, let's go to my house, same apartment. And so we go to my house, and fucking I put on the Doors movie, which fucking great energy. And I made miso soup or like
Nice.
miso tea. And
That's right.
I remember we made it. And
I'm sorry, real quick. Remember we were driving back? We were listening to the Pixies.
Yes, we
Tony's
saw the
theme?
bass player. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Tony's theme. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And our friend.
we were listening to the Pixies, Surfer Rosa.
Yep.
Oh, you got me so big fan.
So we get back to my house, and I start making this this tea and soup for everybody, and
Me so
everyone kind of
long
like is
time.
like on the floor by themselves, staring off into nothingness. Right? Him and the other girl at the time, they were sort of talking. He wasn't super stoked about that, and I kind of picked up on his energy that he wasn't as stoked about it, and so I came up to him with the tea, thinking that like, oh, I'm gonna like, like help him out. And so I was like, hey man, like, do you want some? And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, it's whatever you want it to be, man.
That's right.
He's like, but what is it? I was like, Soylent Green.
And
Just
then
like,
and
what-
then and then Mike went, it's love. Because
Spit
Mike
it
and
out as soon as I
Mike and
tasted it,
I,
'cause I
every
thought it
time
was
we
like
take
Soylent
psychedelics,
Greens.
because Mike and I were on the same exact frequency. We were like, everything is made of love. There's no,
When
there's
you
nothing
can
is the
trip balls with
opposite of
someone who
love.
just gets it, it's the best.
So wait, so to keep it moving, so at that time, so I was talking to homegirl, and both
Real quick,
Omar
in a
and
nutshell,
I,
just to give that real quick.
yeah, real
Look,
quick,
it's
both.
the
Josh,
last stretch.
I can
Interruptions
summarize
is
real
probably
quick.
the
No,
hardest thing
because
we could
it
do
makes
here.
it easier. Look, Josh was my brother.
Yeah,
right?
we're
In
about
a
to wrap it
nutshell,
up. Let me
was a
finish.
chick that I was like in love with and shit, and then it was something that was not going to work out. So he didn't do anything wrong.
I'm
Okay,
gonna puke when this is
Josh did
over,
not do
but it's got
anything wrong.
nothing to do with the
It was
interruption.
Okay,
just
that's
something-
what I was
getting
gonna
It was
say.
just a
sick.
chick I was really into. That's all.
We,
And
we
I-
both
I'm being
had
genuine. I will be
histories.
hurling because I've overdrank alcohols. Throwing it out there. I want
we-
to be judged, not.
We both had like crush history. He had a crush on her, and she and I are both older than him, and we had a crush on each other during high school, and this was like a year after high school.
Mm.
And so we started like hooking up. Like we didn't have sex, but Mike lived in a studio apartment.
I
And
didn't know
it had
that.
like it had a wall. It had a wall between it, so it gave it sort of like a bedroom vibe and like a living room combined with
There
the
was no
kitchen vibe.
closed
But it was
doors.
nothing. And
You
a
can
bunch
hear
of
everything.
and a bunch of homies had came over. People that we didn't want to have come over. You know what I mean? Big okay, clip
Bleep
that,
that
beep
out.
They were on
Um,
acid and they didn't get the vibe.
And that's pretty.
They
nice,
didn't
man.
get it. They didn't
Anyone
get
whose
it.
nickname ends in
and we-
dog is not a good vibe.
and
freaked
we
them
were
out before they
incapable of
left.
telling them.
Oh, it's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're like fooling around on the bed, and fucking Mike is at his computer, which is like right here, right next to the bed, doing the watching me and her making out, and I'm telling her things that like your breasts are like little mountains, and your
Oh,
hair
wow,
is
like
like
her
the
breasts
nights.
are like a bag of sand.
Quite entertaining.
And
yes.
I
It's
went
very
through
lovely.
like a messiah complex on that trip. And
You're white and Asian. That's the ultimate racism.
It was like,
Because you feel
yeah.
so connected to
And-
everything that like,
Oh,
you know,
no,
of
I
course.
remember, I think it was afterwards, at one point, Omar, we were walking towards the beach. We decided, like, what's her
to
name
walk
had left.
all the way to like
All
from,
the
like,
way to the beach.
from 11th
Yeah.
Street to the
stripping
beach.
balls still?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
Mike
fucking Lord of the
tripping balls
Rings like that.
still, yeah,
Yeah.
it was after the peak, but you know how it lasts for like hours after.
Oh, it
the
never goes away.
fucking peak. Yeah, it never stops. It's not stored in your spinal fluid, by the way, people. That is a complete myth. That's not how drugs work. I just want to put that out there.
what Box
There's
has
no
said.
such
Every time
thing
he-
as a flashback. There is hallucination, perpetual persisting disorder. That's a real thing, but you're not going to crack your spine and
I
fucking have an
witnessed
app
do
app.
exactly that. He
Okay.
cracked his spine and
That'd be a
immediately
trip
told the
if that
story.
was true.
That's just because he's a tweaker. Anyways, clip
Hey,
And
that.
he said it like he's looking
Put it
through
on the
you.
internet for everybody to hear. So
Ex-tweaker.
we're walking towards the beach, and Mike tells me, like, I don't know, a couple days after the trip or whatever, that Omar like leaned in to Mike and talking about me said, "I fucking hate that bastard." Because
Wow.
of what had transpired between me and that girl.
It's not too different.
And so for decades now, until I saw Omar last year for the first time in a long time, that's what I thought his perception was of me.
This all makes
Was
sense.
that I
Sorry,
was
brother.
a fucking jackass who like. Also,
All of
you
this
guys
makes
went
so
to
much more
prom
sense.
together, and I went home with her.
Oh, I know.
So
I know.
that-
I know.
Oh,
I
damn.
know a lot
So
more than you
that
think I
also
know.
happened.
Say like
I'm
that.
so
Complicated
sorry.
tapestry is what it is.
Even though she has strep, though, that's why. If you look at that picture, I'm like squeezing her arm. It was the perfect Harley Quinn, and Joke was like, "Smile,
I'm so
bitch."
sorry.
You fucking. She was gonna
Wow.
bail. I got strep. I was like, "Fuck you! I paid for all this shit. You're fucking going."
Oh my gosh.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Dude, he's
dude. I've
googling how
been
to spell
fucking-
corsage and how to pronounce
But
it.
look, Josh. To say shit
Yeah,
like
so
that,
sorry, dude. I'm a bad friend.
Did you
I'm a-
kiss
I
her?
just
Did you
didn't
kiss
care.
her on the lips?
No, never
Do you
once.
really want to know the answer?
No,
Well,
I
we
mean,
both
no,
Probably
wait,
not.
yeah, for a whole bunch while I was on
You
acid.
did?
For a whole bunch while I was on acid, but not
You
that
think
night.
he
not
made
the
her
prom
come,
night.
bro? Are you
No.
kidding me right now?
I'm saying if
Neither
you kissed
one
her on
of
the
you
lips,
could've
that
We
made
means
never. We,
then or now.
that means
It's
you.
probably true.
It's such a
We ne-
moot, fun point.
we never had sex.
I'm just saying, if you kissed her on the lips,
She hates
that
me
means,
now, I think.
that means we're a little bit
Like-
more intimately involved than
It's
we
been
ever
so long, it doesn't
admitted
even
before.
it shouldn't even register anymore, right?
Look, let me
Doesn't
say
matter.
this, Josh. That leveled me up as
Okay,
a
that's
man
weird.
because I wasn't willing to throw away my friendship over some chick, and because it was fair game. Even though I said I don't remember saying that, but I know feeling that. So when you guys told me that, and you guys are my friends and you're not liars, I just believed you. I don't remember saying that. I remember feeling that way.
Yeah.
So I have no reason not to believe you guys. But we're still look at us. We're still here, right? We fucking fight every day. We don't hang up without saying goodnight and because
All right, and that's it, everybody. This
That's
has
a
been
great
the
time.
Let's
This
Ruin
has
Our
lasted
Lives
longer than anything.
podcast.
Hey, friends last
Mike
any
Hall,
relationship.
is there
This has been a great
anything you'd
time,
like to
guys.
say
Thank you.
about? Is there anything you want to plug or interior design? We didn't talk about
No,
that.
not at all.
AIDS.
Don't look you up. Don't look me
AIDS.
up. I would love to come back on for another one. We have plenty more stories to go, guys. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Really
This is
appreciate
like
it.
a sample, dude. We could do like 3
Okay,
more
Omar,
episodes easy.
Yeah, a couple
Ivan,
hours.
Ivan, anything you want to
Yes.
plug? Plug your
I'd
shit.
like
Ivan.
to
All your
call
shit.
Ralph on the big white phone as soon as we get out of here. And then, yeah, Ivan Durham comedy on TikTok. Ivan Durham on Instagram. Ivan Durham on
Ivan
YouTube.
Durham, everybody.
Ivan Durham, everybody.
My boy.
DURHAM.
Omar, anything you want to plug? Your Instagram.
Yeah,
your
no, I wasn't
mom?
working, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get back my job, and then I'm working again, so I'm fine.
You got that right. He's got an OnlyFans.
Oh, hell yeah,
Let's fucking
nice.
go.
So it ends on a good note. This is how
Let's
American
go.
History X should
Je-
have
hey,
ended.
shout out to
Thank
Jesse.
you, everybody,
This is
for
all the
watching
time.
the
You guys, this
worst
is not our
podcast
house.
ever. Suck my
Thank you,
dick.
Producer Morgan in the
Shout out to
house.
Jesse, Josh.
Shout
You
out
gotta-
Jesse. Shout out Morgan.
Josh, keep
All
us on the
right,
hot, buddy.
everybody.
This is
Don't
not
stop
our home.
recording right now.
Don't stop
or-
believing.
Keep Arizona. Okay,
Keep
Morgan,
Arizona hot,
you
buddy.
can
Stay
stop
cool,
recording
San
at any time.
Diego.
Thank you, everybody. We all
Peace.
love you. This has been a great episode. Cheers. L'chaim. Done. Well, everybody, that was the Let's Ruin Our Lives podcast with Ivan Durham, Omar Tassi, Joshua Hensley, Jesse Archambault, and our very special guest this night, Mike Laolagi. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a great time. I love you all. Mahalo.